highest rated entertainment program. Drowsy.
Woo!
Let's start actually with congratulations. They're in
Thank you.
order. You just you just wrapped your 276th episode.
Woo!
Yeah.
Actually surpassing Cheers to become the longest
Oh, wow.
running multi-camera sitcom in television history. So now an easy question. Out of those 276, which one is the most memorable for each of you?
So,
And Mark has directed like 250 of them, so he has a good pool to choose.
yeah, well, I really, it is hard to choose. It's sort of like a Sophie's choice for me. But last year, doing the wedding episode, the Shamey, Sheldon and Amy getting married, was probably the highlight. Not only because of all the guest stars we had, all the talent that we had, but having something like 28 speaking parts in the last final scene. It was a thrill. It was. I felt like a conductor out there trying to keep all the parts working and all the parts moving. And when you see the final product, it's just something I'm really, really proud of.
For me, first of all, hi everyone. I know it's early in the morning. For me, it's early in the morning. I think for me there's so many again, but I think season 3 or season 4, there was an episode where Leonard and Raj and Howard are getting high in the desert. And I had a monologue.
Is that an episode?
That was
It's another Tuesday.
exactly.
Based on real events. Yeah.
Exactly. And I had and Raj had a monologue about being the king of rabbits. And it's the most absurd thing I've ever said in anything I've ever done, except it was also the most enjoyable. And I think that was, and I've actually never been high in my life, so it was, but that whole week I was high. It was a lot of fun for me. Yeah. There's so many, it's so hard to pick, you know.
Melissa?
Hi, everybody. It is so hard. I think early on, it was one of my first episodes where I was with the entire gang, and we went to a science convention. It was the one that Rick Fox was in also, and it was...
That's why it's your favorite. Rick Fox is a basketball player, he's very handsome.
And it was all of us sitting on a panel together arguing, and I just remember calling my parents from my dressing room being so excited that I was doing a ensemble scene with all of you, and so it remains special to me for that reason.
And Mark's choice was obvious to me because he received an Emmy nomination, his first for that episode last
Wow,
year.
thank you.
What does that feel like?
It was actually very eventful because we all remember that nomination because he was omitted on the list in the morning, so we didn't find out until late in the afternoon that he also got a nomination. So it was
I
beautiful.
wonder who else will be omitted this year.
Always good to keep the fate until the afternoon. But tell me a little bit about you're the first multi-camera director in 7 years to get a nomination. Why do multi-camera directing? Why does it need to get more respect from the Academy? You think?
That's a really good and tough question to answer. It's things go in cycles, and I really think in the last decade or so, the multi-camera comedy, as difficult as it is to do and do properly, when it works, it's great. And when it doesn't, that's very easy to point to and say, oh, there hasn't been a good comedy on in years. And it's for directors, there's a lot of different muscles for a multi-camera than a single camera show. We are basically shooting a play, if you think about it. We are staging a play, then we are shooting it in front of an audience, a live 250 people, and they tell you immediately if it works or it doesn't work. Single camera directors could spend 7 days shooting, you're out of sequence, you're out of order, you don't even know what it looks like till the editor puts an assembly together. And then even then you're like, oh, is this that funny? Maybe we should try a different take, and you're never quite sure how it works. And in the last 10 years, people have thought of the multi-camera as old-fashioned and old school, which is fine. I disagree with it because I think it's much more difficult to do and be successful with than it is on a single camera.
And to that point, even from the actor's perspective, the bad version of a multi-camera is 2 actors waiting on stage. waiting for their joke and then trying to make a joke. And the good version of that is, which I think we do well, is a bunch of people on stage having a conversation. You know, and I think Mark has been very, very instrumental in that, in letting us trust the language and actually take the time to have real moments, as opposed to trying to make a joke or trying to tell the audience how funny this is, you know, and I think that goes amiss in the perception of a multi-camera comedy.
And the two of you, just talk about your history in the show. You both came from a very humble beginnings. Now, the first couple of seasons,
I'm still humble.
Your role was such that in the first couple of seasons you had a few lines, sometimes an episode, because you couldn't speak freely in front of girls.
Yeah.
And Melissa, you started as a guest star because Penny needed a co-worker in the restaurant. So tell us a little bit, each of you, about the evolution of the characters and what you're going to miss about them the most.
You know, obviously Raj has because his starting point was such at a base level, it's been really fun to watch the evolution of this character. I wake up every morning and I get to go on set and play a character that has a real purity and an innocence about him. And in this day and age, it's so rare to actually have the ability to play that, you know, to play a character that is so pure, that is so innocent and so naive some way, and it's so beautiful. It's so much fun, you know. I'm gonna miss most playing him because it allows me to just be happy and feel like it's the safest place in the world for me to be is on stage playing this character, and I'm really gonna miss that.
Melissa?
Yeah, and that is Kunal's heart, by the way. He has the purest heart, and that is very much.
And humble beginning.
And very humble. I still, every tape night, I can't believe I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude for being there. I auditioned for that guest star, having been at the unemployment office the day before, and I never in a million years would I have thought that I'd be here as we come into the final season. And Bernadette also, I think that's one of the beautiful things that Big Bang has done is these characters, I think, have lived to the best possible versions of themselves, and it's a real testament, I think, to human potential. I mean, Raj's character didn't speak to girls, and now he's evolved so much on the show, and then Sheldon didn't, we would never imagine that he's a married man, and he is. And same for Bernadette, she came from a very much a sheltered upbringing like Howard, and now she's a mom of 2 kids, having not been so sure if she wanted to delve into that. And for me, I think I'm going to miss most that Bernadette has sort of been a few steps ahead of me in life. She was a mother before I was. She had to enter back into the workplace as a mother before myself. So I've sort of been able to do a bit of a dress rehearsal in life in Bernadette's shoes before I actually experienced everything. And Bernadette also does things with a lot more aggression than I do. So it's sort of been fun to step into those shoes and been more confrontational than I would ever imagine to be.
Because you love your character so much, if you have the opportunity to do spin-offs, are interested to do spin-offs from Big Bang with your characters?
I'm taking those cargo pants and burning them. I need a little bit of a break before, as much as I would miss playing that character, I'm ready to move on to different things now. Yeah.
Okay. And last question, we have to wrap it up, but 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
How are you holding up? And what can you tell us about how the show will end?
I was going to ask you that question, actually.
No.
Yeah.
I think Mark holds.
Mark may know, because we don't, as the actors, we never know anything. We only get the script the night before we start the next episode, so you might know.
Honestly, I don't know that much. The final episode has not been written completely yet. It's outlined. I will say the one thing that they've approached the whole season, once we learned this was going to be the last season, is the writers that have approached it not so much as the show is wrapping up and we'll never see it again, and the finality of it. It's going to be the last episode and it's going to end. People's lives still go on. We'll still be living our life, and these characters, they want to give you the idea that their lives continue on. It's not gonna be an atomic bomb and things blow up and we'll never see anybody again.
So no Big Bang in the.
Only
Right.
only one character dies in the finale.
We have to stop, but thank you so much.
Thank you.